Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight. Headlines. We have the first meeting of the Statistical Program and Methodology Committee. The satisfaction and willingness to strengthen cooperation. For the international scene, Delta variant contaminations are on the rise again in Europe. Welcome to our newsroom. The Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed, has received the Regional Director of the African Development Bank, Ms. Nina Wabufo. The discussion was focused on the strengthening of the cooperation between the African Development Bank and the Republic of Djibouti. The meeting was attended by the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Agriculture. The Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed, then decorated the Regional Director of the African Development Bank, Ms. Nina Wabufo. The African Development Bank works tirelessly for the development of the Republic of Djibouti in all areas to improve the living conditions of our citizens. The Minister of Finance, Ilyas Musa Dawali, accompanied by the Minister of Agriculture, Mohamed Awale, the Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Hassan Hamad Arbahim, the Minister of Social Affairs, Solidarity, Ulufa Ismail Abdo, the Minister Delegate in charges of Economy, Ms. Mariam Hamadou, and the Director of ADR, Subane Said, met with the Regional Director of the African Development Bank Group, Ms. Nina Wabufo, and her staff in Djibouti on June 26. The meeting, which was held within the framework of a contact, made it possible to establish a dialogue to take stocks of the various large-scale projects underway and to exchange and collect relevant information on this priority project on the agenda of this day. The areas discussed were the financing of the interconnection project, the Djibouti-Somaliland corridor, the geothermal project, and many other projects. The meeting also allowed to review other issues related to urban infrastructure and their development, sanitation, and road to remedy as soon as possible the floods that our country is experiencing. These floods are the consequences of climate change. In order to prepare the intervention of the bank in Djibouti for 2022-2023. The first meeting of the Statistics and Methodology Program Committee opened this morning at Kempinski Palace. This high-level meeting was highlighted by the participation of senior officials of the administration, representative of the United Nations partners institutions organized by the National Institute of Statistics of Djibouti. These first editions of the committee, which is an important body, served this morning as a framework for exchange and dialogue. Indeed, this meeting, the first of its kind, has promoted the interinstitutional coordination in terms of statistical program and coherence in statistical practices and development, thus promoting better practice of statistical activity. Participants from various ministerial departments actively exchanged on the development of a coordinated statistical system and a dissemination of quality statistics by facilitating the development of functioning of a statistical system. For his part, the Minister of Finance said in his speech, I am particularly happy to be with you this morning at this first statistics methodology meetings, and in this period of COVID-19, which has called into the questions what has been done, a big work well done to the National Statistics team. Early in the day of Thursday, 2013 June, a strong ministerial delegation led by the Minister of Defense in charges of relation with Parliament, Hassan Omar Mohammed, including, among others, the Minister of Interior, Saeed Nuh Hassan, the Minister of Labor in charges of formalization and social protection, Isman Ibrahim Roble, went to Mariama, accompanied by the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, to preside over the closing ceremony of the initial military training of young recruits in the Djiboutian army. Indeed, as part of the rise of the Djiboutian armed forces and the policy of rejuvenation of its cadres, the Djiboutian army has proceeded in early 2021 to a targeted recruitment of young people among the civilian population, men and women alike. Following the submissions of application, a joint commission was created by the military command to select the best profiles. The population responded massively to the call. More than 1,200 people benefited from this 5 month basic military training. The military delegation was composed of the Chief of the Staff, General Tahiru Ali Mohammed, the Director General of the National Police, Colonel Abdullahi Abdi Farah, Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, and senior armed forces officials to fight against the pandemic. Barrier gestures such as the mandatory wearing of masks, social distancing, and hand washing were observed. The prefect of Arta, Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, and the president of the regional council, Elmi Bouh Koudade, were also present at the end of the picket of honors. The Minister of Defense, Hassan Omar Mohammed, accompanied by General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, began the review of the troops composed of 1,300 young recruits. The management of the and instructors of the military school, President Guled of Holhol, and delegations of officers. In his speech, the commander of the Colonel Mohammed Jama' Qayyad, commander of the military school, President Guled of Holhol, gave an overview of the specificity of this training. The Chief of Staff of the General Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, addressed the young recruits to thank them for having chosen to serve their country in uniform, choosing to defend one's country against all enemies, both internal and external, is a daily challenge that requires courage, bravery, both abnegations and sacrifices, but it is above all a noble and respected profession. For his part, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Hassan Omar Mohammed Burhan, stated that this recruitment within the armed forces stems from the determinations of the Ministry of Defense to contribute to the fight against unemployment in accordance with the will of His Excellency the President of the Republic, Head of Government, and Supreme Commanders of the Armed Forces, Ismail Omar Guelleh. The flag of the military school of Holhol is going around the parade grounds was presented to the young recruit, Colonel Mohammed Jama' Qayyad, commander of the military school. President Guled of Holhol described its value and its meaning, the honors due to its rank, the duty to defend it at the ultimate price of sacrifices. Afterwards, Commander Ali Elmi Bouh, in charge of the training office, took the floor to announce the long-awaited results. The best in each disciplines were promoted to the next grade for their merit and dedication after months of sacrifices and courage. At the end of the awards, guided towers of the facility was given to the ministerial delegation. Indeed, the site of Mariama initially planned to accommodate the battalions in training before their deployment to Somalia was the object of all the attention from the military high command and the people in charge of logistics of the Djibouti armed forces who did everything possible to ensure that the young recruit could be welcomed in good conditions. The Minister of Interior, Saeed Nuh Hassan, has received the American delegation with an American delegation is in his office. This American delegation expressed its satisfaction during this meeting with the importance of cooperation between the Republic of Djibouti and United States of America. This first meeting focused on the cooperation relations between the two countries as well as on the means to develop them, but also to strengthen them further in several areas. On this occasion, the two parties reviewed the state of bilateral economic and financial relations as well as the prospects of further development and strengthening in an spirit of mutual interests. The Training Center for Basic Education Umar Gelli Ahmed hosted yesterday morning a ceremony to launch training on the interactive digital board for the benefit of mathematics teacher and trainers of the CFF as well as inspectors. The Secretary General of MENFOB, Mohammed Abdallah Mahyoub, sponsored this training in the presence of the Director General of Education, Mr. Abdi Dirir Gire, and the Director General of CFF, Ms. Aisha Farah Altre. It should be noted that Egyptian expert trainers are to provide this training on interactive digital boards, which will last 3 days for the benefit of some 20 mathematics teachers and trainers of CFF.
they should get similar education level, remote areas, far away cities, similar like the capital and the big cities. We are working on the project together to provide a very healthy environment and good educational environment on the remote areas in a form of containers, which includes all the tools the teacher they need. It can take up to 40 students. It provides electricity through solar cell. Even it provides the fresh water for the student, enough for the 8 hours during the study. Telecommunication will be provided through LTE, microwave, or satellite, but the Ministry of Education in Djibouti, they have a plan to provide education everywhere. Regardless of the condition, they believe that every student should have fair education within Djibouti, and we are helping them to develop.
For the international scene, the variant Delta infections are on the rise again in Europe after 2.5 months of decline. COVID-19 infections are on the rise again in Europe. The only weapon, the race to vaccinate the Delta variant is causing new outbreak in the UK and Russia. In the UK, the proportions of cases is over 90%, while in Russia it is close to the same levels. Portugal is at over 56%. Faced with this, the EU countries are resuming restrictions in a scattered manner. Germany, for example, has almost closed its door to travelers from Portugal to Russia, adding them to its list of variant country. It is all national and residents returning from these countries must observe a 14 days isolation even if they tested negative. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.